Nathan, it's Wednesday, January 8th. I love the bloopers video that you put out Sunday night. It was well worth the wait and I'm excited to see the rest of them. And your video about what happens to our bodies when they get too cold was interesting and informative, although I hope I never have to experience anything like that firsthand. Nathan, we recently lost a friend far too soon in his life. It's been really hard coming to terms with it. For me, I've lost a very small amount of people in my life, which of course is fortunate for me, but at the same time leaves me with little experience on how to internalize death and move on. Death has not been a large part of my life so far, but I know it's something that will become increasingly more prevalent. Along the way, I doubt it gets any easier, but perhaps it can become a little more understandable in the sense of its inevitability. I think one important aspect of dealing with loss is letting yourself grieve right away. I'm not saying it's gonna make it easier in the days, weeks, and years to follow, but bottling up will definitely make it harder. Now, the way in which you grieve is of course up to you, in public or private, through tears or fits of anger. I know of one culture in Northern Australia where it's customary for women to throw themselves on the ground in the middle of the street, wailing, hitting themselves or pounding the ground at the news of the death of a loved one. It's like an immediate reaction. That's not something we see so commonly in our society, at least not in public, but that doesn't mean it's not a natural reaction. I actually had a dream once around 10 years ago where I did the same thing in my front lawn when I had heard that a loved one had died. When dealing with loss, I think it's also helpful to solidify who they are to you, their faults and their strengths, so that their life and who they are lives on in your memory, not their death. Remember time you spent together, laughs you shared, and arguments you had. Every relationship in life has to end at some point, some just happen to unexpectedly, and if you try to push parts of it out of your memory, then what was the point of having it in the first place? Try to let death remind you of the mortality of relationships. You won't have forever to tell people what you think about them, so seize every opportunity. In our current society, our relationships have become a lot more text-based, and without as many face-to-face connections, our relationships can seem a lot more shallow. It's a bit easier to type "love ya" onto the screen of your phone than it is to look your friend in the eyes and say, "I love you and I care about you." But it makes sense. Making and maintaining lifelong relationships that matter isn't supposed to be easy. That doesn't have to be a bad thing though. Many of us too readily associate easy with good and difficult with bad. Going through difficult events is a core part of human life, and being forced to face them makes us stronger individuals. You can learn from death and understand and value life better. People deal with loss in different ways, but ultimately it's how you learn from death to improve yourself that makes you stronger and able to move on. Nathan, I'm glad I'll be seeing you on Friday.